knives out and shit. It's just crazy stuff. You live there for like a year or two, I'm on my computer doing work, and somebody's fighting 2 feet from me outside my window. I don't even notice it. You grow, and it's always the 3 a.m. I love you.
And that's bad. It's still bad, yeah. Well, I mean, like, and bad. It's like like anywhere else. I mean, if you live next to a bar, when it closes, you're gonna deal with that. Where I am, I don't.
But you're in a high rise.
Yeah, but I'm not that high.
But I was ground level, right by City Hall.
Yes,
so
I mean
I was the lane that every cop, every fire engine, and every ambulance. Cops were, woo 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 woo. Ambulances were. Cops were.
Cops were what?
That's what cops did.
You still get that.
And then ambulances, they all sounded different. And
well, as a bar town, it's changing. Like it's not like the young kids that are like fresh out of college are just going to like 1 or 2 bars. There's probably like 3 bars.
Is it still like I lived there from 7 to 9?
Yeah.
Is it what I noticed? Hoboken was a 30s town, 30s and 40s town.
I think it was becoming a 30s town, maybe around. Well, I tell you what, I thought I caught the tail end of it still being like a young town. So I moved there when I was 24, and
oh wow, you've been there a long time, on and off, 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, well, so I skipped 9 months out of that. So like I was downtown on 3rd Street, and we lived right above a couple of the busier bars, and you could, wherever you went then, you were meeting people like either in college, and it was like, hey man, where do you go? Like that was still kind of like the tone. I don't know if it's because I'm just going to different places now or what. You just don't see it. But like, if you don't go to Green Rock, like you're just not seeing kids now.
You knew, best thing about Green Rock was Sunday football. That was the best.
You know what? It's just like, it's just not really my scene anymore.
You knew who lived there. You never lived in Hoboken, did you?
No.
You knew who lived there, and you knew who didn't. You knew like the out-of-towner 20-somethings that came in. And like, I mean, just the problem with living in Hoboken is just to walk my dog, I had to get dressed. Like now I'm like in my underwear, like walking around my neighborhood, like Hoboken yet? Because you never know. Like you meet a girl, how many freaking girls you meet when you're walking your dog?
Well, you know what's wild? When you're not
Get
from...
a dog, Albie. You meet
I'm actually thinking a lot, Jen and I were talking about getting a dog, but what's weird is, I'll basically equate this to her. Like, so my girlfriend had never been or spent serious time in Hoboken. So when you're from New York and you live in New York, you think like Jersey's like Swamp Thing lives in New Jersey. Like you just don't want to cross that bridge. You don't want to go through the tunnel. You don't want to get on the path.
Right.
You just don't want anything to do with it. And I've been telling everybody. At first, it was like offensive. And even when I was going to school in New York, I thought the idea of Hoboken was stupid. Why am I going to go past the Lincoln Tunnel and go into a town when I can be in Manhattan? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And then you go there, and you're like, this is the best place in the world. Why doesn't everybody know about this? And then about a year in, you're like, this is the best place in the world. I'm so glad nobody knows about this.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're like, totally fine with it. But like, she loves it now. I mean, it really is just the best town.
Do you live with her?
No.
Okay.
No.
The funny thing about living in Hoboken is that you think that everybody should come to you. So you're like, dude, this is the nightlife. This is it. And you would always ask people to come hang out, and they would give you an excuse. You'd be like, how could you not come here?
Yeah.
Then you realize how much it sucks
Dude,
to get in there.
When I moved out, I moved back with my mother for, I guess 8-9 months, whatever, however long it took for us to film the show. And I went and I was like, it doesn't really make any sense for me to sign a lease when I have to be here 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So I waited, and during that time, it was the biggest pain in the ass to go to Hoboken. Yep. It was terrible.
Sometimes
terrible.
it takes 40 minutes to get from the what is it called?
I guess uptown or downtown.
Uptown to downtown.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, I used to come home from work, and I would come from Route 3 area, and then you go down, and I would take a little shortcut.
Yeah.
Literally, dude, as soon as I got off the exit, it was like a half hour just to get to my house.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
And then I would circle for a half hour, and then once I got a spot, it was awesome. Friday, you parked that car, and you didn't get back in that car until Monday.
Yeah.
And then the kids park, not to interrupt you, but the kids park in front of your house, and then they'll go, hey man, do you have any idea if we can park here? And they totally can. And you go, no, dude, I live here. Like, you're totally going to get a ticket in like 5 minutes. And they're like, fuck, man. And they take off. So you go run down the street, you grab your car, and you pull right in front of your house.
Dude, I used to work in Hoboken.
Trials and tribulations.
Where?
I used to work for a doctor's office that was based on Washington Street.
Okay.
So I used to do marketing for them. So I used to go around to other doctors and go try to promote. Yeah. And I tell you what a freaking nightmare it was to work in that damn town. My God, it's insane. Like, just like you're saying, it took me. I used to have to time it perfectly, so
Yeah.
I got into town at like 9:45 because I knew it would take me 45 minutes to park. So I would make my first visit at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I definitely miss it. There's no doubt about it, but you're going to grow out of it. You're going to get out of there.
It's different. Like I thought for a while that for as long as I was single, that I was just going to be obsessed with that town.
Mhm.
And when you like wanted to settle down, you'd want to go to the burbs, and it's grown up there a lot.
Mhm.
Like it's stroller town now, So
I never understood how people have kids and they walk around and drunks are walking past.
honestly,
I never understood
it's
it.
really just not like that anymore.
No.
It's really, really strange. It's a lot of families now, which is good and bad, because like on one hand you're like, all right, well, this is awesome because now if I decide to have a family and it happens sooner than later, or something just happens, I'm not exactly in a position where I have to get out of here and find a house. I'm looking at it now like, oh, hey, it's like it's more than comfortable. Like you're not even close to the only one. It's probably dominated now by strollers. But like at the same time, if you want to find that, there are places there you can go and you'll find it.
Did you ever see great movie, Castaway?
Of course.
You remember when he got saved and he literally just sat there and he stared at the light switch and he stared at the ice and all that kind of stuff? When I actually moved out of Hoboken to the Doric,
Uh-huh.
which is that huge high rise.